Well, yes, that's on,
Yes, you can have mine.
it's on the
Sure.
page before.
I've got another one. Which way should I go?
Found it, Warwick, have you?
Rather than selection in the meeting. Disrespect.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Just to make sure you actually read it.
Okay, thanks everyone. We'll make a start. There's a lot to get through this evening. If we're to finish by 9 o'clock, welcome everybody to the meeting. Remind all of their obligations under the LGA 1972 to show due respect for others and to adhere to the code of conduct. Do we have any apologies for absence, Richard?
Yes, Councillor Ben Bachmai, Sally, Nick, David, and Estelle.
Okay, thank you. And any declarations of interest or dispensations? No? Okay, thank you. We've got two guests who will be addressing us this evening, but I don't think that, are there any other members of the public that would like to raise a question before we get on to that? No? Okay. Alison, if you wouldn't mind, could you turn the camera on? By all means, blur the background, but yeah, that's great. Thanks, Alison. So our two guests, we've got the Joint Civil Aid Corps who are going to talk about their role and remit, followed by Clwyd Allen, who are going to talk to us about the history of Oldford. I'd remind everybody that this isn't a forum for debating any of the issues that arise, but we will note what is said and no doubt carry that forward into our future deliberations. But this isn't the time for general discussion, and I would ask all speakers to try and be succinct, keep things to a minimum, because we do have a lot to get through. Bill, yes?
I presume we can ask questions of clarification if necessary.
Oh, absolutely. What I meant is I don't want it to become an open debate. Okay, so shall we? We'll start with the Joint Civil Aid Corps. If you could state your names and whatnot. And, yeah.
Good evening, I'm Kurt Martin. My role is Area Commander for Wales, for the Joint Civil Aid Corps, the National Civil Defence. I'm also Deputy Chief Officer, one of the staff officers for the outfit. My colleague is Under Officer Class 3, Kane Andrews, who is my admin assistant, and also he runs the media for the Corps. Kane will be doing the presentation tonight, to give him a little bit of practice. And I'll hand over to Kane.
When we're ready. Okay, introduction to the Joint Civil Aid Corps National Civil Defence. Next slide. Right, so throughout this PowerPoint, we're going to go over a couple of things. What the difference is between the original civil defence, modern civil defence, how civil defence can benefit emergency services and communities, joining and training of the Corps and our aims as a charity as a whole. Next slide, please. Okay, to begin with, we're going to go over the history of the civil defence, the original civil defence. So on the date of 25th May 1924, saw the first Air Raid Precautions Committee meeting of the Imperial Defence. Wing Commander Sir John Hotzel, CB, was seen as the father of the civil defence. That's the gentleman on the left of the screen. Okay, he was alive from the 19th of October 1894 and unfortunately passed away on the 14th of March 1971. Civil defence was officially established by the Home Office in 1935 as the Air Raid Precaution, ARP, and was changed to the Civil Defence Service, CD, in 1941 and later stood down in 1945. During World War during World War II, there was 1.9 million active volunteers throughout the United Kingdom. 10 civil defenders were awarded the George Cross, the highest civilian medal valor. There were 6,760 casualties, with 2,379 dying during their service in World War II. During the Cold War, the Civil Defence Corps and the Auxiliary Fire Service were raised and saw service between 1948 and 1968. During both World War II and the Cold War, civil defence activities were fully funded national and local governments. This means that they were funded for vehicles, buildings, equipment, and activities. The CDC was established to take control of areas that were affected after major disasters, nuclear attacks, or other major national emergencies. Next slide, please. Okay, moving on to the Heritage Civil Defence Services. So on the screen, okay, are the different organisations and groups that came under the Civil Defence. So Air Raid Precautions, Women Land Army, Timber Corps, Women's Voluntary Service, Inland Waterways, People's Dispensary for Sick Animals, and both the Auxiliary and National Fire Service, and finally the Fire Watches and Fire Guards. Recently, I believe, was it 2025, some of these have rejoined the Civil Defence, including the Women's Land Army, Timber Corps, and the Auxiliary and National Fire Service. Next slide, please. Okay, moving on to the modern civil defence, okay, what we are now. Okay, the founder of the modern civil defence is Chief Officer Colin Hemsworth, the gentleman on the right of the screen. The Chief formed the Joint Civil Aid Corps in 2012, which originally was designed for a cadet corps. It was later stood down and became a charity in 2015, with the new aims of supporting both the emergency services and local communities across the emergency services, across the UK, sorry. Numbers are consistently starting to grow, which is roughly 200 to 300 across the United Kingdom. We cover England, Wales, Scotland, Guernsey and Northern Ireland, with our HQ being in Milton Keynes, Buckinghamshire. Next slide, please. Okay, joining and training in the Corps. We're open to all. We take a common sense approach. This basically means we have no discriminatory towards anyone. This includes race, age, sexuality, etc., etc. As I said, we did originally have a cadets, however, it stood down. However, we are now looking to launch that later again this year. But we currently take 16 to 17-year-olds who are related to a member capable of acting as a mentor. So I was fortunate enough when I was 16 to join the Corps under the mentor of DCO. operationally, you must be 18, there's no upper age limit. This is shown as with DCO, as you are now, what, 74. So we've got very age different orientation groups, ranging from 16 to, I think the oldest we've got now is 84. During your introduction and joining the corps, we are, we have to have an enhanced DRB check. This is due to our role within the emergency services and local government. They require us to do this. This is just for safety, etc., etc. So we have a generous training, which before this you go on to our, so we start with our generous training, which go into two strands, which is operational personnel and the other being support. Some, as you can see below, some of the training we cover is JESIP, which is Joint Emergency Interoperability Programme, which all the emergency services across the United Kingdom are a part, and this allows us to work at the same level and also understand one another at multi-agency actions. Moving on, action counter-terrorism. This is commonly used across the emergency services, even including private sectors, including the SIA security, but mostly used by the police. COSH is safety. So this is your general manual handling, your safety things to protect not only yourselves, but obviously other members that you may be working with, but also as well the general public that we may be working with. Fire awareness or fire marshalling. This covers us for evacuations, just your fire extinguishers, etc., etc. Emergency first aid. This ranges from starting at community first responders. We do not go as community first responders as in call outs. However, it brings us at par to community first responders. Next slide, please. So on the map, in person, you will be able to see this spread across the chambers. This is our current rally point system, showing all of our active volunteers across the United Kingdom. I believe this was subtracted about, I think I took this photo about 2 months ago. So we have now grown even more, especially in Wales, now reaching, I think about, I don't know how many in Wales now.
50 now.
About 50 throughout Wales, even more in places like London, Birmingham, etc., etc. Next slide, please. So I'll just run through briefly over this, because this is what some of the training that we do. So previously mentioned, the Joint Emergency Service Interoperability Programme Awareness, the ACT and Anti-Terrorism Awareness, Health and Safety Introduction, Evacuation Awareness, Fire Wardens and Fire Safety. This is what all of our volunteers from a baseline, when they first join, is taught both online and also in person, with everything being accredited and certified by Essential Skills. Next slide, please. Moving on to our community emergency response. Again, this is what our basic recruits and volunteers are taught. Manual handling. Oh, just go back one, please. There we go. Manual handling, COSH, slips, trips and falls, emergency first aid. This is just basic stuff that most people get taught throughout life anyway. Next slide. Moving on to level 2 in our community emergency responding. So this is still a generalist, but a bit more advanced. So health and safety in hazardous environments, scene management, use radio communication effectively, safety stewards awareness, basic life support, first aid for those first on scene, first fire safety awareness, water safety awareness, and basic search and rescue skill. So this is more of a broader scope, and basically this brings you to more of your specialties to allow you to see different roles that you can potentially go down further down the line. Next slide, please. Okay, supervisors and officer training. So groups 3 and 4 and 5 will follow in due course. So supervisor team and leader training includes group 2 instructor qualifications. So this is for our officers and supervisors. So we get taught more in detail, but also teaches us how to train and also supervise the ones below us. Officer training as a whole and senior officer training. So this just gives you your leadership, your qualification in teaching, and how to deal basically as a leader towards other volunteers. Next slide, please. So roles. We are open to all, as previously mentioned, with around, we now have about 45, if not more, roles that give opportunities for everyone to participate in support of their own community. So basically, with our 45 plus roles now, okay, it just allows everyone with any interest to have an opportunity, so you're not stuck to one thing and you don't feel like you don't have an option. Next slide, please. So these are the 40 plus roles that we have, ranging from our support side with admin, the trainers and assessments, training physical fitness. So if you're not capable to do our operational, these are the things that you can specialize into after you've done your generalist training. We also have obviously our operational, which is guardians, evacuation medics, mechanics and transport. So as you can see, we have plenty of opportunities for everyone to get into, regardless of what your interests are. Next slide, please. So just a bit more of our operational roles and support roles, what you can specialize into and what you can go into. Obviously, there are more, which you can previously see. Next slide, please. Okay, how do we assist the emergency services? This is a common question that we get asked, both on a formal and informal occasion. Next slide, please. Okay, how we assist the emergency services, starting with the NHS. Okay, so we administer first aid to casualties in need. This can be anywhere from putting a plaster on someone to trauma level care, including GSWs, which are gunshots, knives, etc., etc. Ensure safety and welfare to the public in everyday situations. So we are very proactive as a charity. We tend to go out in uniform as much as possible, doing meetings, recruiting, etc., etc. Whilst we're out in public, we may come across situations where casualties have injured themselves. Myself and DCO have come across this many times, where we've been first on scene, where we've had the kit and managed to assist, which has either allowed the NHS to either not have to come out altogether and or delay their response to allow more prioritised calls to take priority. We ensure the safety and welfare of public on scenes. So if we are on a multi-agency scene, we can specialise in first aid, which allows the emergency services, especially in the NHS, to specialise and go into more detailed situations. Event control support. So even though we are mainly assisting emergency services, we also assist on events. So commonly for myself and DCO and some of the other members that we have across Mid Wales, we do the food festival in Newtown. We also do the outdoor festival, Newtown Remembrance Day in Newtown. With all of these, we do cover from first aid alongside St John's, fire, safety, and just security on as a whole. Road closures, we can assist all 3 emergency services with road closures. So this allows, especially the police, to go into more specialised investigation, etc., etc. So instead of the police having to sit in their cars at the end of scene, it allows them to actually be on the ground in the scene, investigating and doing more detailed work. Next slide, please. Okay, police. Road closures, as I said, Okay, this again, as I said, allows them to go into more specialist roles instead of having to sit doing the controlling traffic. Sorry, this also allows they don't have to contact the council if they wish not to. That's more if it's an ongoing scene where there's high risks involved. Rolling roadblocks is more for crews in Midlands where there are more motorways, etc., where you're driving down the road, you've come across something, and it just allows you as first on scene to give yourself a bit more time to prepare what you're going to do, what it is you're actually coming across, and it also when you're on roads at 60-70 mile an hour, instead of sharply braking and putting your vehicle in the fend off or fend in, it allows other vehicles around you to notice that you are slowing down, and it brings them more of awareness. Security on scenes and cordons. Okay, so this allows again emergency services to go inside. With this, we can basically stop the general public in entering the scenes. This is obviously for safety of both the general public, emergency services, and ourselves. So if there is an incident on the road or an incident on a public footpath, we can divert them for safety. Security on events, as I said previously, if there's any issues with an individual possibly causing a nuisance, especially I think we had something, not going into too much details, but we had something on the food festival the year before last where our assistance was required before the police had showed up, just to calm down and de-escalate the situation. Urban search and rescue. So this also works with the fire service, as you'll see on the next slide. We can be called out for search and rescues across both inland and on shores. Okay, so we have specialist groups with specialist equipment that will do this, that they've been trained in with multi-agencies, so they'll work alongside and assist them with searching in perimeters, maybe close near where the last time they were seen or further out, just in case they're wandering and that we can spot them.
And as well as that, we're also, quite a few of us in the corner, fly drones. We have qualified drone pilots, so that helps out the emergency services and extends the civic area.
So going on from that, that is another specialist role that you can go into if you're interested in drones. We did a drone course not long ago. I think it was about 3 weeks ago, the most recent one. And what our training basically does is allows you to be a pilot and also an observer. So for our safety and our health and safety, we ensure that every volunteer that flies a drone has an observer. That's obviously again for our safety, general public safety, emergency services safety. In regards to search and rescue, drones are very, very handy and are being used more by emergency services, as that can cover a lot more than we can on foot, especially when it comes to forestries and things possibly where walking isn't safe, so mountains, etc. Next slide, please. Okay, finally, fire service. So again, urban rescues, cordons. So many of our volunteers are specialised with floods, auxiliary engines, and fire in general. So our number one rule is we will not go onto the fire ground itself. We will not fight fires. That is left to the professionals, being the fire service. Instead, we will do cordons of the areas. We will do light evacuations where the fire service have brought out individuals, and we will guide them to a evacuation point where there may be first aiders or first responders on scene ready to deal with any casualties. With the auxiliary engines, okay, many of our volunteers have old fire tenders that can pump water. So as I said previously, we can't go onto the fire ground. However, we can use ours as water pumps. So where the fire service will be on the scene, we can put our engines in between of a fire hydrant where a line or a tack hose may not reach. Next slide, please. Okay, what are we looking for the future? So we're looking for the devolved powers from the Chief Constable. Okay, this will allow us to further broaden our scope and allow us to do a lot more and cover a lot more. That will then allow us to assist the emergency service even more. Funding. As every charity across the United Kingdom and across the world, we are looking for funding. Unfortunately, as previously stated, the original civil defence was funded by the government and local governments. We are not. We are a charity. We are a registered charity since 2015. That means we look for our own funding from local councils, local businesses, and we do a lot of fundraising activities. One including our open day in Havant Newtown, where we allowed general public to come and see equipment that we carry and potentially see where they could assist, maybe not as volunteers, but in a funding aspect. Marked vehicles. So at the moment we are in between. Some volunteers have marked vehicles, some volunteers are using their own vehicles that are marked up with magnets, stickers, that are used and being designed by the Corps that allows us to be visible throughout the scenes. Is there anything you want to add on to that? Yeah. So at current we stand with our vehicles, both private and Corps vehicles. We use amber beacons or amber lights, emergency lighting. So we are currently waiting for devolved powers to potentially use blue lights if we are allowed. That's going through governments at the moment. That's quite an extensive operation that we're going through at the moment. However, at the moment we use amber lights, as many other charities across the United Kingdom. This is for scene safety. Okay, so if we come across RTCs or if we're doing a cordon, this allows the general public to see us, see our vehicles, and see that there's something happening, and that there is a vehicle blocking the road. Because the last thing we want is anyone hitting our vehicles, hitting our volunteers. In marked with our vehicles, we are also uniformed organisation. So as now we are in our service uniform. So this this includes our station shirts, our formal trousers, and our berets, which are orange. Okay, these are for the international civil defence. Throughout the world, sorry, orange has always been known as the international colour for civil defence. Besides Northern Ireland, is it?
Northern Ireland is great.
So with the Orange Order in Northern Ireland, unfortunately, we're not allowed to use.
Plus Scotland, they're great berries.
We're not allowed to use orange, obviously, with that in place. So instead, we use grey. Also, with our chaplaincy, because we have our own chaplaincy, they wear purple. Okay. Again, when we're not doing meetings and formal occasions, we will wear bump caps. They're also orange. That's just to protect us for health and safety. We wear high visibility clothing, including coveralls, high visors. We also have, many of us have personal lighting systems like head torches, etc., etc. Most of our, well, all of our uniform, we're coloured either blue, like we are now, white for senior officers, or orange and blue for the civil defence colours. Okay, this is a good idea when it comes to emergency services, because many charities and emergency services use yellow. So we stand out. So if anyone needs to come and locate us, they know who to look for. When this is particularly handy when there's multi-agency response, because when you have 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 people all in yellow, even though on the back it usually says what organisation they're with. When you see loads and loads of people, you tend to get confused. Buildings for in-house training. So currently we are using buildings that we get to borrow on popcorn rent. However, we're looking more to get where we have a permanent building, help the public in distress, which we are currently doing and hoping to do more. Ease the emergency services. Everyone knows, general public knows, emergency services know, government knows. The emergency services are extremely stressed at the moment and are currently getting pulled every way possible. That's where we step up and assist to ease it. Next slide, please. Okay, how to join? Okay, search for Joint Civil Aid Corps or JCAC on any of our social media platforms. If you want more of a regional based, you can go Joint Civil Aid Corps hyphen and in the region you want. So for example, for Wales, it's Joint Civil Aid Corps Cymru. You can speak to a volunteer. Throughout Wales, we try and be out in uniform doing various things, as I said previously. As much as possible, that's talking to the general public, talking to local businesses. If you see us, don't hesitate, come over to speak to us. You get to speak to us, see who we are, what we do. Obviously, things like this benefits us. Or you can email us at inquiries@jcac.org.uk or recruitment@jcac.org.uk. Next slide, please. Community resilience volunteers, that's currently being worked on. I won't go too much into that. If you are in person, all of this is in the leaflets that we gave you. If online, I'm sure that one of the councillors could possibly share the PowerPoint to allow you to look at it at a later date. Next slide, please. Civil Cadet Corps, I've already spoken about this. This is the things we are hoping to reintroduce. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are the individuals that have publicly made their interest shown to the civil defence, including Rishi Sunak, the Prince of Wales, the the Earl and Countess of Wessex, and there's more now. I believe this was about a year ago now. There are now more governments, personnel, and also royal family, etc., that now support us. Next slide, please. Okay, that's the end of our PowerPoint. Okay, is there any questions for myself or DCO Philip Martin? Yeah.
Where is the nearest base around here?
So myself and DCO Philip Martin, we're based in Newtown. Okay. However, we do have some across Mid Wales. I think in Newtown alone, I think we've got how many volunteers?
I've in Newtown, we've got people up in North Wales, people in South Wales, people in West Wales. We're building all the time. Just a few things that Kane hadn't mentioned. That is the international sign of the civil defence throughout the world. If or when a conflict occurs, we are supposedly covered under Article 44 of the Geneva Convention, which means we will not get attacked, but as we found in Palestine, they are getting attacked. Most of our vehicles, we carry defibs, and we're all, myself and Kane are advanced first aiders. We carry a trauma pack, which if there's gunshot wounds, stab wounds, anything like that, then we can attend to it. We've got the equipment on board. One of the main things we use is a hemostatic bandage, which is what they call a Z-fold. It's if you see it, look online and look at Zelox. It's spelled with a C, CELOX. Originally that was impregnated with shrimp shells, and if you get a catastrophic bleed, put the tourniquets on and you feed this bandage, keep feeding it in, and within about 10 minutes it stems the bleeding, and then of course you pack it out So we carry trauma kits, advanced first aid kits on the vehicle. You see in the leaflets that we've handed out, there's a thing called a safe shell, which is insulated. It blows up, you can blow it up 3 different ways, either canister, car foot pump, or hand pump in 15 seconds. You put a false insulated floor down to get the casualty on, if you can. If you can't move the casualty on it, you put this safe shell over it. There's 6 different access points into it. Keeps them warm, keeps them dry. The paramedics or ourselves, whoever it is, can work on the person, and it stops what we call the rubberneckers with the cameras. I was on duty the other week up in Cheshire. I attended as senior officer for the Corps an RTC, which involved a person deceased. I went with the chief inspector, and she floored that car for about 10 miles at 120 to 130 miles an hour to get to the address of the deceased, to knock on the door, explain who she was, to tell them that the person is deceased before anybody put it on Facebook. Because they're just slapping things on Facebook. They don't know what's happening. You know, I wouldn't like somebody to say to me, "Oh, look, this is on Facebook. Is this your wife? Is this your grandson?" Or whatever, you know. So this is one of the main things, and you can use it anywhere, indoors, outdoors, everything like that. But we try and get out as much as possible. We have driven through Welshpool a few times, and it gets a bit drier. We'll be coming out, parking up, maybe find somewhere to put a little recruiting stall up and walk around the town so that people know who we are. Because they see the uniform, because they see the berries, they don't know who we are. You know, they think we're unmarked police officers. How can we, when we're dressed like this? We're a special military unit, which we got nothing whatsoever to do with the military. You know, but we're increasing. With sometime this year, we will be going over to what they call a company limited with guarantee, which means whatever profit we make goes back into the Corps, and all the senior members, staff members, we become directors. And that there's lots and lots of things that are coming in. And the devolved powers, I'm the one who's chasing 43 police constables plus the College of Policing to allow us to have these devolved powers. It's a long Home Office form, or not form, but a brochure sort of thing. If you look at CSAS online, and then you look through there, and I think there's about 50 to 100 pages to tell you exactly what chief constables can delegate the powers for you.
Thanks. Right, I don't want to rush you, but I think
No, that's
we're probably
fine.
wound it up there. I hadn't really heard of the.
No, there's not many
call
people
before. I was certainly very ignorant of what you do, so that has been very interesting and informative.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for you both giving up your time to come to talk to us. I would ask if there's any more questions, but we really run I think short of time, and you explained it so well anyway. I don't think there can anybody that here that's in any doubt about what you do and the valuable work which you actually do.
If
So
there's
thanks very
any-
much.
If there's any questions, there are our business cards, both mine and DCO's, in the leaflets that we gave you. That'll give you our email address and also our phone, our mobile numbers if you have any further questions.
Okay, Phil.
Chairman, it's very interesting. I must be getting old or something. But I think this young man has done an excellent job of explaining exactly what they do, and he's kept it interesting for us. And that's the important part of making any speeches. And can I congratulate you, sir, on having recruits like this who are the future of any service. But I think he's done an excellent job. Thank you very much, young man.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And he said he joined at
16.
16. I'm his mentor. I'm also his grandfather.
Yeah, right.
So he has to talk a lot.
Okay, thank you both very much.
Thank
anyway.
you.
Yeah. A bit warm. Good evening.
Richard, Louis Allen, do you want to, where do you want to do this from? Do you want to come up here or? Oh, cool. By all means. Thanks. Cheerio. Bye.
Okay. Anytime you want us, just go from there. Okay. Evening.
Hello there.
How are you?
Take a seat. I'm well, thank you. And I'd say the same to you, if you could keep it as short as you can, as we're running rapidly out of time, but.
I'll stand if I want, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. Thank you and good evening all. It's nice to be back. It's quite daunting to having served on council previously for 5 years. So I'm, it's a pleasure to be in amongst friends here. I must say, just before I go on, and my presentation will be as succinct and as brief as possible. Apologies for the noise there. I did actually have a fire call.
We hit the siren.
So, and it did go twice. I thought I was going to have to disappear, but thankfully it isn't something too serious. So I've just had to. So I do apologise. I could see a few heads going. What was the noise? So there we are. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for allowing me the opportunity to come along. Blessing with my IT skills. I'm quite pleased myself, really, pulling a presentation together. So there we are. I thought what I would do is just, I know it's under the agenda heading as the history of the Alford estate. That's certainly not my intention. It was just to take the opportunity to kind of reaffirm our position, included within the community, and the excellent relationship that we've had previously, and long may that continue with the town council, particularly recently meetings that I've had with Richard as the town clerk, and more recently with Councillor Pritchard as the ward councillor for the Alford estate. So thank you both for time last Monday. So I thought I would just capture, I know there's been some debate within council around the plague provision on the Alford estate. And I thought perhaps just before capturing that, or just giving a brief overlay, it'd be useful just to kind of put some context into what I would like to kind of share with all. I know Councillor Morag will probably or may wish to interject, and please do, Morag. You are far more informed than I about the history, going back to the transfer. But I just wanted to highlight, as I put there. So the Alford estate, I must say, Clwyd Allen, who I work for as a housing association, we manage 220 properties on the estate. So we don't manage the whole estate. So when people do refer to Alford, there's still local authority properties, and there's obviously a number of owner-occupied properties. So our responsibility directly is for the 220 properties that we have on the estate. We have expanded from what was the voluntary transfer of stock. So there is kind of a shared responsibility for the community. So the Clwyd Allen part of the estate, 220 properties that we have, it was the first small-scale voluntary transfer of housing stock to take place in Wales. Or the date was
it 91?
91, I think it was, yeah. So I've worked for Clwyd Allen since about 1994, so I've got good insight into the transfer that took place. So as part of that transfer, it was transferring what were the old kind of former bison properties to a developer who could develop, working closely with the local authority. And that was, successful. Before that could be achieved, there had to be a ballot of then residents and or tenants, as they were And it had to exceed, I think it was more than 95%. And I think they had something like about 98%, 97, 98% who voted in favour. With that, there was those residents or tenants who were present or were local authority tenants at the time. They received we refer to it as the preserved right to buy accommodation going forward. Next slide, please. I think I've covered that. 220 properties, just to put that into context. 191 general needs properties, single and family accommodation. So when we talk about the subject of play, I think it's fair to say, you know, that would be our kind of demographics that we would be looking at and consulting with. And obviously the 29 sheltered accommodation properties is for those residents 55 years and above. Next slide, please. As a consequence of, and this is where, you know, I must state to you before going, I'm not informed on the legality of what should or should not have taken place at the transfer. I can merely share what has occurred and what's in existence now. So as a consequence of the transfer, Clwyd Allen, they were mandated to provide play or a play area, and as such, we provided two small areas. One located at the rear of the Prince of Wales Drive area of the estate, the other at Park Place. And I've just captured some images to show members as well, just for their information. In addition to that, there was an area of land in Leighton View that, following close working relationships with the Oldford Tenants Association, which was supported by a lottery grant. I think it was something in the region of about 40,000 at that time. Clwyd Allen leased an area of land to the Oldford Tenants Association to develop that area for play. That lease subsequently came to an end, and that area is now back into the ownership of the housing association. Thirdly, the Scansers pitch, and I have to say this has been a massive success. You know, to this day, it was a collective community initiative. Councillor Phillip, his then capacity with the Welsh FA, Phil, you led on that, you know, working with the local authorities. And a condition of that, why that's important that I raise this, Mr. Mayor, is that a condition of bringing that pitch to the locality was that it had to go or be managed by a community council. So the way of achieving that was for ourselves, who we had an area of land, was to lease that to the town council. So that's how the lease of land for what's known as the, I don't know, is it a Mugger pitch or Scansers pitch, we refer it to as to now. So next slide, please. For information, Prince of Wales Drive play area. So that's as it is. Took that shot today, actually, this morning. So and there's no AI kind of interference with that. That's as it is. That's so as you can see it. So that's in use. Does it get a lot of use? I honestly don't know. Do we get many complaints around that area? Not particularly, don't. I can stand here and say that, but that's what's there kind of currently. The next slide, please. That's the other small area, Park Place. And again, that's as I've taken this morning. I would say that from my local knowledge, that's the busier area as opposed to the one we've just looked at previously. Next slide, please. This area, this is the area that we leased to the Oldford Tenants Association. Is still designated there as an area for play. Quite a significant area. It was planted at the time of the redevelopment, and you know, it's accessible now to members of the community. that purpose. Next slide, please. There we are. It's the Scansis pitch. It's had its day in terms of it does need an upgrade, and you know, from myself and for, you know, representing Fluid Allen Long, may that continue. You know, I do wish to state the conversations we've had with Richard, we wish to enable that lease to continue, accepting there will have to be investment there, and that I see as a joint working project. Next slide, please. Phase 4 area of the estate, and why I say that it's known as phase 4 to this day. The redevelopment of the estate took place in 3 phases. That was the latter stage in 1996. And previously, the area to the left, there was planning permission for 29 shared ownership properties. We never pursued that, and the application lapsed. That currently is open. We're looking at what we can do with that area in terms of community facilities. So hence why I wanted to just show that to members. Okay, next slide, please. And really, what's next? Just to summarise, I've covered that. To extend the lease for continuation of the Scansis pitch, assuming that both parties are agreeable to that, and I would like to think so. Importantly, here is to explore opportunities for partnership working with Welshpool Town Council. I think it's fair to say probably we're both in a position, you know, in terms of the availability of capital funding to fund any play provision, and certainly I would see that as, you know, joint opportunities, looking at funding, looking at partnership working, and we're committed to doing that, and we're committed to whatever we kind of collectively can discuss and work together in terms of existing provision, what you would like to see and what members of the community would like to do. So I just put these next two as a kind of a bit of a thought to, if and when we decide, I sincerely hope it's not when, it's more sooner, that we look to develop the facilities and make use of the areas. You know, do we consider the traditional play area, or do we consider, you know, I don't know, the new play kind of areas such as a trim trail, or something that relates to healthy living, or a combination of both. Furthermore, we are intending to pursue the bottom, and I've had conversations with Rich again, not in any way to come into kind of what competition with your allotments. We particularly look at developing allotments specifically for the Oldford estate and food provision. And again, I'd see, you know, the town council being part of that partnership if you so wish. So there we are. I just wanted to, you know, kind of briefly go over, and I hope that's been informative, but yes, to give a, you know, a strong commitment, and I'm happy to be held to that, you know, to work with council to move forward in a positive
It's
fashion.
extremely helpful, and thank you for your
and there's my, if you go to the next slide, sorry those, I should have introduced myself at the beginning. I've now, that's not my substantive role actually, I'm in a seconded role. I'm covering for maternity leave. You know, and I would like to just say too, I manage the Naas Melbourne. There's an open invitation to come and have a look around, join us for lunch there. You know, we're happy to put something on. So
brilliant. Yes, well, I will. I came to the
yes, indeed. Yeah.
There's one thing, I don't know whether you can help me with this at all. It may be that you can't, but do you have any idea of the number of children or school-age young people actually resident on the estate at the moment? Not just necessarily those that are in your properties, but on the estate in general.
I don't, and I think it's, well, I think I've raised this with Rich in the conversations we've had. I think any funding bid or anything we were to look at, we'd have to look at the demographics of there and provide that. From our side of things, I would think it's a relatively easy exercise we can do with our the information we would hold within our housing management system. So I'm sure that's something previously had that information, but don't have it to hand currently.
Thanks. Richard?
Yeah, thank you, Brendan. No, that is helpful. And you've come up with a number of different ideas, allotments, trim trails, different kinds of play areas. I just wonder what kind of engagement there has been with the residents of Alderford to find out what they would like and what they would prefer, or what their priorities are. Because I think before we do anything, we need to have some proper community engagement there to find out what's really wanted.
No, that's a fair comment. I would say, Richard, that we haven't done that as such yet. You know, the conversations we've had, I think, are around, is there a kind of some sort of in principle agreement if there is a wish from the community to develop that, and we'll look at that. You know, certainly in terms of the allotments and the healthy living aspects, that's something we will be going ahead with, and it's within our kind of corporate business plan around elimination of action against poverty and food poverty. So we will be looking at that irrespective in how we can move things forward. But absolutely, and again, if we were to jointly submit any funding application, we would have to demonstrate, provide evidence and consultation. Absolutely, we would.
Do you think we've reached a stage yet where some form of public consultation involving the residents should happen sooner rather than later?
I would think so. I think we would absolutely should be doing that. Yeah.
Jackson, two very quick questions. How many of the residents there are your residents versus people who own it privately, and would you be consulting them as well, the private individuals? And just as an interesting one, where are you thinking of putting the allotments? Do you have a position set aside, or is it just still in the planning stages?
Yeah, two very valid points there, Councillor Jackson. What I would say is I had in my head and I did think that would be a question that would come from council. I had it in my head there was around about 440 plus properties on the estate. There's 220 which are ours. Proportion of, we'd have to look into it. I wouldn't quote the numbers, but yeah, in previous funding applications and previous community initiatives, we consider the Alderford estates the Alderford community. We would consult with, and that would include the sheltered accommodation too, because it's important people have a voice.
And we as a council certainly would have to consider both.
Yeah.
Laura?
So yeah, can I just clarify, because I was chair of the Tenants Association at the time of the transfer, so I remember very well. And we've had, I should have gone up there myself and had a look, which I failed to do, and I apologise for that, because we were led to believe in this chamber that there was no play facilities there at all, which is why I've said, well, that's Code Allen's responsibility, and it was in the deed of transfer. The deed of transfer was a formal deed of transfer, but a part of the transfer was a tenants charter, which stipulated in that they would provide play areas. Now, in what I've seen tonight, they're complying with that charter. So I take that back. With the play areas they were committed to provide, they are doing that. Obviously another area was developed, which wasn't part of that. And it would be good if that could be done, maybe a bit more natural than the traditional play area. And for me, the issue is the Scousers pitch, because that was leased to us. So that was something that we have been providing, isn't it? So for me and the town council, working in partnership with Clwyd Allen to be able to take some of that forward, would be very positive if funding was made available.
Absolutely, more. There would be no obstacle, in terms of renewing that lease. And I know there's been talk, Phil, about extending. It's part of the consultation process. But in terms of actually that area, we're nailed on.
Okay,
And I
thank
think
you.
Morag, it was remember CDS, Kevin Keach, and what was the other one?
Say again.
There was the tenant's friend that was brought in, CDS,
Oh, yes,
Kevin Keach.
and Carolyn.
There we are, yeah.
Phil,
Yeah, just to add a bit to what Brendan has said, I was involved right in the Scottish switch from the initial inception in Switzerland to come in here in Welshpool. Montgomeryshire, fortunately, was allocated 2 Scottish switches. One we put in Monmouth. The other one was already earmarked for that space where it is about 12 months before. But it's been a wonderful thing for the kids. Brendan's quite right. We looked at it the other day, and quite honestly, it needs a good revamp now. But the structure is sound and everything else. It just needs a good going over, if you like, to bring it back to top class and kit. There's a firm in North Wales who actually look after them all in North Wales and South Wales. So, so they know what they're doing and this and the other. So, but I've got to say, I am disappointed as a councillor for Welshpool, but particularly as it's my ward, where we haven't got small kids playing area and this and the other. Clwyd Allen did have them, but in some ways they got knocked about. In other ways, they just extended their life and whatever. I know the one thing that really killed them all was the cost of insurance for them. But it fell to at one point to the tenants association, and they just had no chance of paying the costs. And that's where we lost a lot of the facilities, but at the end of the day, I look at up the top of Red Bank, I look at down by Kyglass, I look down by the Flash. In each of these areas, of these large, shall I say, children's areas, the town council have put a facility together at the town council's cost and everything else. And every time I ask a question, I get an answer, oh, it's Clwyd Allen's problem. It's not Clwyd Allen's problem. They're our children, Welshpool's children, and we should look after them. And there are more children on the Alford estate than on any estate in this town. And we should be making as many inroads as we can to replace what was there and add to it. Simple as that.
thanks, Phil. Bill, and we'll make this the last question if that's
Yeah, I
okay.
just want to thank Brendan for a very useful and helpful overview. I've learned a lot. And I take absolutely the point that Councillor Pritchard has just made, but I just felt that it was important to say that we are in danger of turning into a debate and we need to move on.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Brendan. I have to say, after listening to you, I'm very encouraged. I'm sure we as a council and Clwyd Allen can go forward and find a good solution to all
Thank
this.
you,
Indeed,
Brendan.
indeed.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you,
Brendan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We're now an hour into the meeting. We've got a lot to get through. I will make the mayor's report for the month as brief as possible. We sent a message of support to our local Olympian Adele and to her partner. We will maybe discuss that later. Various meetings have happened throughout the month, both internal and external bodies, which I've attended. Hazel's funeral, much missed. Hazel took place on Monday. I was unable to attend, unfortunately, but a good many councillors did, and I think the turnout generally was very good, as befits a much loved person and a missed councillor. This Friday, there's the Parkinson's Gala dinner. That Parkinson's was my mayor's charity for this year and last year, and I'll be going to that, and I think some other councillors may be going as well. I hope so anyway. Just to announce that the election date has now been given, 30th of March. Nominations for that have to be in by the 3rd of March. And well, it remains to be seen whether there'll actually be a contest, but those are the dates. Okay, so we'll move on now to, are there any county councillor reports or updates from Carol, Richard, Graham? I don't think is
Yes, there
online.
is one from me, thank you.
Okay, do you want to go ahead then, Carol?
Yes, it was reported in our last full council meeting that there wasn't a high school sign. So what I've done is I reported it to Powys County Council and I worked with the officer, and we are actually going to put a sign up there. It's going to be the beginning of May when it's done. So yes, we've got the sign to go up for Welshpool High School.
Thank you, Carol. I can't tell you how pleased I am or how pleased the school will be when I report back to them. So thank you very much indeed for that.
They're actually going to be involved with the making of it. So that's something else that I'm really pleased about.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you, Carol.
Okay.
Thanks. Bill?
Yeah, I'm also very grateful to Councillor Carroll for doing that. Can I just though ask that those who are joining us online actually switch their videos on? So I think it's good.
Sorry, I've frozen.
You voting, Alison? Can you hear us?
I can hear you now, but you had the whole town council thing was on mute. I couldn't hear any of that last debate.
There was a brief, but
Yes.
the whole thing dropped out. So
I wasn't able to hear anything. So
Okay.
I've only just heard you.
Okay, we've got a proposal to accept the minutes of the last full council meeting, subject to one amendment where we amended the word suspected to suspended. From the
Yes.
last, and that's been seconded by Morag. So we were just taking a vote. So
Yeah.
could you show again, please, those in favour? Okay, thank you. So that's carried. I'm not sure about Chris, but no. Okay, that's carried anyway. Okay. There are no matters arising, are there, Rich?
Yeah, there's a few, the one about the cards replacing petty cash is still in progress. I don't know if they've been in touch, did they been in touch with you before? I will chase them tomorrow. Also, you nominated Nick Howells to go to Buckingham Palace. He declined your nomination.
Yeah.
So that's nothing else, move forward on that one.
Okay.
And the bit about Are You Safe, the next steps, we've now agreed, well, we've now had one of the next steps valued, and that will come at a future meeting.
Okay. Right.
Mayor, just quickly, I just had a message from Carol to say that she's trying to get back in.
She's back in.
Oh, she's there, jolly good.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Has she got a camera, Chairman?
I think it looks as if maybe camera was too much for the.
There she is.
Oh, no, yeah, she's there. Yeah, thanks, Carol.
I have a camera, but it keeps going off all the time. I'm freezing. So that's why I've not come on with the camera.
No, that's fine. We can see you now.
Thank you.
So let's move on then to the committee recommendation, starting with events and planning. Well, I think they have delegated powers, don't they? So we're noting and confirming the recommendation.
They recommended one thing. They
Welshpool
usually don't come to it, but they nominated. They recommended that the council support the Welshpool Fair Trade Initiative and allocate a market stall. I guess the members that were here this evening about that meeting,
Yes,
will know what that's about.
yes. So, is there a proposal to accept that recommendation? Does somebody want to make any proposal? Is there a seconder?
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard. Those in favour?
Hands up.
Me.
And I think that is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Can I just say thank you, Mr. Chair, for support, and I will move that on as quickly as I can.
Excellent, thanks, Bill. Right, 9.2 is Operations and Development Committee, February 26th, and that's Appendix D. Phil, do you want to take us through that?
Are they the ones with the? Yeah.
I don't think you necessarily have to take us through it page by page. We've just got the 4 recommendations there. The TIC renaming, Commission for Works at Mice Dre, the transfer of the flower beds, and the drafting of a licence for those who might be persuaded to take those on, and the Wi-Fi quote for the town hall.
Can I just make a point, please, Chairman?
Yep.
And I'll explain to you why later. But in that bottom one, the flower bed transfers,
Yeah.
it says those flower beds are actually in Mill Lane and Church Street. They are not. They're in Church Street. Mill Lane is across the way, right?
Look at
let me just explain. The council, county council, seem to be continually making this error, and I know to my own expense, because I happened to go to the office one day and park my car but just by the side of Mark's Autos there, that side of the road.
Yeah.
I got a ticket. When I challenged it, they said, oh, very sorry, Mr. Pritchard, but it says Mill Lane on this ticket. We can't let that go through. We'll cancel it straight away. And that's exactly what happened. Right?
Really?
Because it is not Mill Lane, but it looks to me as if there's an issue gone out, an instruction gone out from the authorization body, if you like, be it, I don't know, the parking wardens or whatever, and they keep on referring to that loop road there between Mill Lane and Church Street as being Mill Lane. It is not, it's all Church Street.
According to the National Street Gazetteer, it is called Mill Lane, which is why it appears on the official
Well,
documents.
they are wrong and I'm right.
That's fine,
If
and it's
that-
also that powers are in control of the National.
But I know
Street
it saves me
Gazetteer,
40
so
odd
it's up-
quid.
it's up
Well,
to them.
we can say Mill Lane, aka Church Street then.
It does say slash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny one on this one is that Powers emailed me today, informing me that they think they're ours anyway. And that some damage has appeared to them and we
Not
need
surprised.
to fix the damage. So this whole resolution may be moot because it may be ours anyway, but I thought we'd progress with it anyway, just to clarify and then progress that with.
Yeah, anyway, those are the recommendations of the committee, so unless anybody has.
I'll move them, Chairman.
Yep, okay, thank you, Phil, seconded by Bill. So those in favour, please show.
Hands up.
Thanks. Alison, are you voting?
Yes.
Yep, okay, so I think that's unanimous. Yep, thank you all very much. Finance and governance, this is the February meeting and that's an appendix E. We got environments, procurement policy, volunteer policy, review of standing orders and committee structure and the appointment of the internal auditor. Do you want to say anything about that, Morag?
No, the environments were, because of changes within budget headings.
Yep.
And obviously what's happened with the day centre. The policies are, as you will have read them, and the standing orders are due for review, so that was purely to set up a group of officers
Yeah,
to do the initial work and
okay.
Chairman,
Yes, Phil?
as everybody knows, I wasn't well that night anyway, but I did ask that I could be included in item number 8.1, the standing orders review. I've done more of these than probably anybody in this council, and I'd like to be on that. I'd like to put my name forward to go on that committee.
So, Chairman, the minute is correct, because we were all surprised you hadn't put your name forward, Phil.
Yeah,
I think it reported.
I didn't say anything about that. I just said I want to be part of that, and I'd like to ask council to add me to it.
Okay,
It's the sort of stuff I like. I've been doing those sort of things all my life.
okay. You're on that committee, Bill, I couldn't remember whether.
Yeah, who's sitting here?
Yeah, oh, that's right,
Yes.
yes. Well, it's a governance issue, and what the committee have recommended, they're responding to a request for a review to assist officers in looking at it's particularly in view of the fact that the new committee structure has been in place, it will have been in place for 12 months, and then we will report, or the committee that's been appointed will report back to annual council, I think, and people will have a copy of the report in advance. So everybody should get the opportunity to comment. Now, I have no firm views about who should be on the committee and who shouldn't. I don't mind. But was there any limit put on the numbers? Well, we could propose an amendment, but should we first vote on the recommendation that's been made?
I think Bill is amending the recommendation.
Right, okay. Well, has anybody else got anything they want to say about that?
My amendment is that my name is added to that group that is going to look at the standing orders.
Okay.
And I think that should happen with anybody. If I had my way, Chairman, everybody would be involved in that.
Well, I don't have any objection to that. I'm
No,
not, if we want to propose an amendment to item 8.1, that those names remain as they are with the addition of Councillor Pritchard. I don't see any problem with that. Is that
No,
any?
I'm happy to second.
Okay, so can we have a vote then in favour of that? Please show.
Hands up.
Okay. Was that unanimous or I'm not sure about Alison?
I don't think it was unanimous, but it carried.
Yeah, it just carried. Okay, so that's carried. Thank you very much.
So you approve them as amended, yes?
Yes, I mean, we haven't voted actually on all the other recommendations that I presume are
No,
going to.
will you just do one more vote just to? approve
Yes,
them as
so
amended?
we need to vote again.
Yeah.
On 5, 4.
Well, I'll move all the rest, Chairman.
Okay, thanks, and Bill, you seconding that? Okay, so those in favour, please show.
Hands up.
Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Item 10, finance. Council accounts for period 10 January. You've got those in appendix F and G in your packs. Maureen, is there anything you want to say?
As reported to Finance Committee, we're in a better position than we were last year. And you will note that the petty cash balance is reduced as per our new financial standing order.
Yep, okay. Thank you, Morag.
Would you be okay to vote on formally noting them?
Okay,
That's
so
something we've missed to do. I
Right.
think it's really important that we do it, just to
Okay.
show the auditor that actually you are making a conscious decision that you've.
yes, I agree. So
Happy to propose that. Mr.
okay,
Chair.
thank you, Bill, and seconded by Morag. Those in favour, please.
Hands up.
Thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you. Thanks.
Brendan.
Item 10.2, payment of invoices for February. You've got those all listed at appendix H. Has anyone got anything they want to say in relation to those payments? If not, does somebody want to propose that we pay them? Yep, okay, seconder for that, Morag. Thank you very much. And those in favour, please.
Hands up.
Thanks, that's carried. Moving on to the interim strategic plan 10, that's item 10.3 on the agenda, appendix I. Richard?
I don't think there's anything to highlight to your attention. A lot of the year one stuff is now coming to the end. Of course, year one will be ending soon. We're still working through bits of the year one stuff and getting ready for year two stuff.
Okay. It's looking good actually. I quite like it. Like it. Right. We don't need to do anything with that. No. Okay. Right. Item 11, the Tour de France. This is for draft terms of reference for a committee. I did have some discussions already with Bryony Rees at Powys County Council. I'm due to have another one when she returns. She's away from the office at the moment. But it seems to me that high amongst the things that this committee are going to have to look at are some things that are going to carry a capital expenditure element. And I'm thinking of things to generally improve the appearance of the town, a planting scheme, improved signage, additional public toilets, probably temporary ones, additional car parking, flags, bunting or similar adornments to the route of the race, advertising and display, including at the TI, the Welshpool Information Centre, and community events and involvement both before, during and after the event itself. If we have to bear all the cost of that, despite our very best efforts at forward planning, it's probably it's not going to be particularly good. We're going to need some funding. So what I'm trying to find out at the moment is the availability of funding, either from Powys, the event organisers, or from potentially other sources. So I think part of the remit of the committee, and they are coming to talk to us next month at full council. And we'll have a better idea then, but the committee is going to have to work, I think, with the coordinators and the organisers and everybody else to try and get the best for the town. So this is we just need to think about what the constitution of the committee I think we need to have community representatives that we can co-opt onto it. Much will depend on what they're actually expecting us to do and what we want to do ourselves to boost the image of the town. Richard?
I think it would be wise for us to defer coming up with terms of reference until we know rather more than we do now. I've been appointed to a committee of the county council, together with a number of officers, that has its first meeting in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay.
And I don't yet know what the role of that committee will be. And I think perhaps over the course of the next month, everything will become a lot clearer.
I think it will too. I think when Brian gets back, at least I have a clearer
wouldn't
idea.
expect the town council to have to take responsibility for things like car parking, and they're going to have to hire land on a temporary basis for that kind of thing. And I don't expect that to involve us, but I would expect that we would want to be involved in community activities in the lead up to it. I think that would be our prime role.
If you remember from the last month, the purpose of the committee was to kind of coordinate our action, not necessarily the events action, but our action as a town council. As you know, you put 5,000 in the budget for the committee, in fact, for the council to use in the next year and possibly the year after. So that's what the primary goal. But if there's stuff going on in the county, I think the difficulty at the moment is we don't know, will we be being told what to do or being involved?
I'm told we're being involved. But
what involved does that mean?
I don't know. Right.
Maybe we need to wait and learn more out.
Yeah, sometimes people say involved when they're being told,
Involved to be quiet.
I feel that the sensible thing is to wait until we've been addressed on the subject, which I think is next month, is it not?
Yeah.
There are things already planned. There are musical things going to happen with that, and a lot of work has already been done, which we will want to be involved with and supportive of.
Yes.
But I'm sure that this committee is going to be very important. But I think to get it right, we wait a month until we've been a little bit clear about what our role is going to be, and a little bit clear about what the funding sources may be, because there is funding around. It's just a matter of how it's then directed and how much of it may come out.
It seems to me that does make sense, because the skills of the people on that committee really need to be tailored to what the committee is going to be expected to do. And at the moment, I agree with you, Richard. This is to coordinate our efforts, not necessarily anybody else's. But we are going to have to work with these other agencies. So more ag than Jackson.
I was just going to say exactly the same thing as Bill, really. So Bill's proposing that, then I would second it. So I agree, we should defer it a month and see if we've got a better picture.
If we defer it a month, then it will come back to the same meeting where the Paris representatives will be addressing us.
Well, you will have more information.
We will have more information, and it's possibly. Would you think we do it in closed session immediately after that meeting, or in open session as part?
It needs to be open. There's no reason it could be in private.
No, okay. Well, we could put it on the agenda to follow on after that then. Is everybody happy with that? Makes sense, I think, doesn't it?
You just need a vote.
Yeah, okay, so is there a proposal?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jackson.
Sorry, just quickly, could I say to our representative on the county council committee, and also to mention that, has any thought been done on the legacy side of things, such as when we had the Olympic Games, the facilities afterwards were used as legacy? I know that a lot of people are interested in the skate park, and I've heard from a lot of the young people that what they'd really like is a skate and bike park. So with the Tour de France being here, having some part of the event happening, having a bike park would be absolutely amazing. It would tie in really well and give something which was a legacy in the town afterwards. So
I think that the legacy issues will certainly be a consideration. Yeah, quite what we can expect it to be, I really don't know yet, but then that's something that I'm sure we'll be considering.
Brilliant.
Okay. So we have a proposal to postpone this until next month's full council meetings. Is there a seconder for that? All right, okay, so those in favour, please.
Hands up.
Thanks. I think that's, yeah, very good. Thank you all very much. Okay, 11.2, Bull Dingle. We're going to have an update on Bull Dingle.
I have no update to give you.
Okay, so we're not going to have an update on Bull Dingle. So should we?
Well, someone at my house might have an update.
Bill?
Yes, I will send round some photographs of the Buildingle as it stands. Lots and lots of tree planting has taken place. The trees concerned, all the ones I've seen are about this high. For those who can't see me, that's about 6 inches, maybe 8 or 9 inches at most. They do seem to be healthy trees and they're beginning to bud nicely, but they're a long way away from actually being trees.
Yes, I think they probably made the same mistake they did on Spinal Tap with the model Stonehenge.
I am going to do some litter picking in part of the area that's accessible because it's really been left in an awful state from that point of view. I know that the county have said, well, it's not our concern, that's rubbish that's there anyway, but I think they had a duty of care to remove this stuff. They also said that the remaining wood that's been left on the estate is just brash that had fallen naturally. I will circulate some photographs that show that it has actually been cut and sawn, and therefore is wood that they have left. I'm just a bit annoyed at the response we've had from an elected member on this has been very good and very positive. The responses we've had from officers have been sort of weaseling out of situations by saying it's not our fault, we didn't do it, but I'm afraid they did.
Okay.
I will circulate to members the response we've had from the portfolio holder responsible for housing, the deputy leader, and Matthew Dollins.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Rich. And thank you, Bill. Okay. Unless anyone's got anything else to say about Bull Dingle, we'll move on to 11.3. This is the Biodiversity Action Plan, 26 to 28.
Yes, so as you know, council has to approve a report every 3 years, and you did that in December, but now we need the next plan for the next 3 years of what we're going to be doing in terms of biodiversity, and we need to think of a plan, but actually I can't really think of a plan on my own. I need some councillor input as well for you to bring back to a future meeting. So
right.
Some members to elect whoever will be interested in biodiversity and
Bill?
I'd very much like to put myself forward.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd be very interested. Yeah.
And Alison? Yeah. Okay. So we've got Jackson, Alison, and Bill.
I propose those three.
I just said I'll stick with you forward.
Sorry, Phil, didn't catch that.
Right?
I didn't quite catch that.
I said 5 minutes, well, 3 or 4 minutes ago, I'll put my name forward.
Oh, okay, right, so, Alison, Bill, Phil, Jackson. That's it, isn't it, those 4?
Yeah.
Okay, so, somebody want to propose that? Thank you, Richard, and seconder, Laura, thank you, and those in favour, thank you.
Hands up.
Thank you. Can't see you. Oh yeah, Alison's got that, so that's carried unanimously, I think, although I can't see what Chris was doing.
Yeah, he did with his hand.
Did he? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, everyone. The Civil and Ceremonial Working Group, I missed this meeting, but I did.
In the interest of time, you've got the minutes in front of you. Basically, all you need to do this evening is note that in the next meeting of the Finance and Governance Committee, there will be 3 policies coming. Flag flying, death of a sovereign or senior person, and the civic and ceremonial protocol. We will continue to take members' input until they're written ready for that.
Okay.
I propose we note these reports.
I don't think you have to.
We don't.
Anything, you can
Okay.
Right? In that
So
case,
we
I'll
just
note them.
we've all noted it. Thank you. Electoral matters.
Just to say, if anyone has got any thoughts that are not captured by the working group's minutes, please send them over to either the members of the working group or myself or anyone in the office, and we'll collate them in. And Phil, I know you've sent some very helpful things about flags, so thank you.
and regalia.
Yes, we'll consolidate it all together.
I didn't know where the term Dexter came from beforehand, so.
I
that's
don't know
great.
if speak as well.
Yep.
Can I just ask, you might be kindly ask our operations team to turn the water off on that particular day? I got drowned the last.
We're not on elections yet, Phil, we're all still on working group, but yes, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
You did have a very funny story where Phil got.
I say no more.
Right, electoral matters, vacancy in the castle ward. I know, I can kind of pre-guess what the outcome of this is. I always want to advocate polling cards. I think they encourage people to turn out and vote. They remind people there's an election, and of course they help to stop electoral fraud. But I know other people think it's an unjustifiable expense, and it is expensive. But
at last count, there was 1,700 and something electors in Castle, which translates to a cost of £90 per 100 at £1,584.90. That's on top of the election cost of about 1,800. So you're looking all in all about 3,000 or something. If you did decide to poll cards, any decision of you this evening really for poll cards. As the Mayor said earlier, nominations to be in by the 3rd of March, polling day on the 30th, if contested.
Phil?
Yeah, I don't think that's expensive to ensure for the people of Welshpool that they get something done properly. I don't think it's expensive.
Well, it is quite pricey, but I think it's worth it. But does anybody want to propose?
Chairman,
Maureen?
I disagree.
Yeah.
This election is for 1 year only, and then everybody has to be re-elected.
Yeah.
To pay that much money we managed this successfully at the last election without poll cards. It worked then. I'm fairly sure it worked again without poll cards this time, but that's just my opinion.
I'm fairly sure it would, but Richard?
Yeah, looking at the turnout that we had at the last election compared with the turnout that we had at previous elections when poll cards were used, the turnout wasn't really any lower when we didn't have poll cards.
It was around 15%. All of us.
Slightly higher, if anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if there was to be a significantly higher turnout as a consequence of poll cards, I would be in favour of them, but there isn't any evidence of that. So for that reason, I would agree with Morag.
If you don't decide to poll this evening, we will do what we did with the last election, and we will put the signs up and the banner, and
Which I thought was very effective.
Okay, we will do the same if you decide not to.
Okay, well, so Phil's made a proposal that we do issue poll cards, so we'll have a vote on whether we should issue poll cards or not. So
Could I just say quickly, I did find, because I was the one in that one, that a lot of people didn't actually know there was an election going on until I went round canvassing. So that is,
when they've got poll cards.
I suspect so, yes, but that is a thing which is in favour of them. And also, just as a side thing, I thought Alison had a hand up as well.
did you, Alison?
Yes, I did, but the points have been made by Morag and Richard, so I took them down.
Yes.
What I would say is that particularly the two key points, one is that it didn't alter the turnout. The other one is it's for 1 year. The local people are fed up with a council that spends money unnecessarily.
Yeah, that's undoubtedly true as well. I think everybody makes a valid point actually, and I think, well, you have to put the expense of the exercise over any perceived advantages. But we do have Phil's proposal. Bill, do you want to second Phil?
No, I want to speak.
Oh, well, please do. But
only just to make the point, consequent to what Councillor Quarrell just said, that actually when I went from door to door prior to my election, I found an awful lot of people did not know there was an election. So I think poll cards don't actually.
You had poll cards at yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Phil's made a proposal.
So Phil's made a proposal that we issue poll cards. Is there a seconder for that proposal? Chris, okay, so we'll we'll take a vote on that, and this
Can I
is,
have a recorded vote, please, Chairman?
yep, this is a vote that we issue polling cards for the forthcoming by-election.
Alison,
Against?
Chris,
I think he's got his thumb up. Yeah.
Carol,
Against?
you, Phil,
For,
Bill,
I have no views on the subject, I abstain.
Richard,
Against?
Bill Pritchard,
For,
Morag,
Against.
and Jackson.
I'm afraid to say I'm going to have to abstain because I have very strong views in both directions. I really think polling cards are great for democracy, but I also don't think we should be spending so much money. I wish there was a way we could get them to people for a lot cheaper.
well, yes,
Yeah.
we shouldn't have to pay for it.
So that was
should we?
5 votes against, 3 in favour. The motion is defeated.
Okay, thank you all.
I'd like to thank councillor Quayle for actually expressing my views exactly.
Yeah.
I think we all had similar views, actually. I think if polling cards didn't involve an expense to this council, there wouldn't be any argument. Of course, we would issue them, but okay, thank you, everyone.
Can I just make the point that I really think that we should not be being charged for every county. I think that the county should be there in the consequence to enable.
Yeah, that's just.
could hear you, Bill, sorry.
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the regulations that allow them to charge us.
Yeah.
They could make the conscious decision not to.
They don't have to charge us, they should.
And look, Welshpool has a high number of by-elections, it seems, another example. And you have allocated in your budget next year a more adequate sum for elections. Let's hope we don't need to use it. And of course, remember, 6 months before the next election, we're not bound to call the vacancy, and I would suggest that you do not, you just wait for the 6 months.
Okay, item 12, bylaws consultation. Recommendations for Operations and Development Committee to proceed, and the report from the town clerk in respect of the bylaws consultation, and that's appendix M.
You've got the report in front of you. We had a consultation, as you know, which we were required to by law. You looked at this back in September. We had 14 responses. And the Operations Development Committee looked at this this month and agreed with the recommendations, and they put that for you this evening. Happy to answer any questions on the report. The next step now would be, if you approve this evening, would be the draft bylaws would come back for you, along with the second written statements being published, and then you'd make a final decision at a future meeting.
Yeah. Morag.
Thanks, Chairman. I'd like to propose that we adopt the recommendations as presented by the town clerk.
Okay, so is there a seconder?
Second that.
Thank you, Bill. So this is to adopt the draft recommendations, which will then come back at a later date. So
yeah, you'll now note that the reports have the recommendations on the first page as well as the last page for the page your
Okay, so those in favour, please.
Hands up.
Thank you all. I think that's unanimous. Item 13, outside bodies, One Voice Wales.
If you remember, you deferred this from the last meeting because Alison wasn't here.
Yes. Yeah. Alison, do you want to say something about that?
Yes, right, fine. The reason I wasn't here was because I was at the One Voice Wales AGM. It was that night. So, and it was quorate, well and truly. So we were able to vote that we did not have to have such a high percentage in future to be quorate. And the proposals, you remember there were several motions which we considered at our meeting, and one of those was deferred, the others all went through. So the one that I was seconding, after discussion with our town council, went through. They were very pleased, so that will be continuing, and that is looking at the legal advice that town councils get.
Yeah.
So that One Voice Wales is following through on that now.
Yeah, that was the one where we were supporting Newtown, wasn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to say any more. It was a successful meeting and it was held finally.
Good. Just out of interest, how many people actually went?
I've got a feeling it was something like 184.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
So it was way over this time, but I think, you know, it's very unfortunate. It really was. Was it third time lucky?
Mm. Mhm. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Alison. That sort of leads on to 13.2, which is
Councillor Morag is,
oh, sorry, Morag.
I also attended the One Voice Wales larger councils
Yes,
meeting.
yes, you did.
And I'll just do it very briefly because I've forgot my long notes. I'll do it very briefly and I'll send out the presentation afterwards. The guest speaker was talking about the whole changes to the bus, the new legislation that went live in February in relation to bus transport. Transport Wales are now responsible for, or will be responsible for the bus services. The local authority will still maintain responsibility for the hardware, so bus stops and things like that will remain with them. So it's all going out to franchise. This area, because it's last in the list, has already had some tendering already done, which is like a breakaway in between being fully franchised. And it started already in southwest Wales. So they're already partway through the process. Then they'll move on to South East Wales and they will get to Mid Wales in about 2030. So we do have to wait for a while. It was all very laudable. They want to make things easier, simpler, and the schools will still stay with the local authorities, but they do want to integrate that more wherever possible with the franchise bus services. One thing that I picked up on was what they call hyperlocal services. So that's, you know, little town services will remain out of the franchising. There is a whole load of consultation that goes on. There's about 3 months public consultation before the actual tender even goes out for the franchising. Before it goes out to tender. The community council and town councils aren't a statutory consulting. So the advice was to put our pressure when it comes to us still on the local authority who are a statutory consultee of Transport for Wales. So.
Yeah, okay, yes.
But they did a presentation.
Doesn't seem entirely satisfactory, does it? But if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. Okay, 13.2, the annual awards. If we want to make nominations for this, I'm sure you've all read it, but 30th of April, I think, is the deadline for nominations.
What have I'm not aware of what things we've nominated before.
We won last year. Were we runners up in the best cost of living award for the hub? We've been runners up previously. I don't know before that. I don't know.
I think last year was the first time we even made a nomination.
Wow. Okay.
That's my knowledge. But we were shortlisted for give and take.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just wondering whether we should nominate the hub.
Yeah. So One Voice Wales have also done a case study on Meals on Wheels, Give and Take, and the hub as a joint, as a 3 thing about cost of living. So we can nominate whatever we want.
So I think
you could probably throw the community fridge into that as well.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
They've been sharing it anyway. One Voice Wales. They've got a keen interest on it, which is good.
Happy to help with the submission. Having
if I've actually
done many.
I've got delegated powers to make submissions for awards, so I'll consider. Just let me know what you think we should nominate, and we'll put a thing in. There's a very long list of awards that we can. I think we should probably nominate quite a few and see what we get, and then off we go.
Okay.
Right. Just let me know if there's anything you specifically, but the hub and community fridge.
Okay. 13.3 sustainable powers.
Oh yes, there's another meeting coming.
3rd of March, yeah.
in the family centre. So they are moving around the venues. If you remember that it was town hall 2 times ago, last time was livestock market. This time
Yeah.
it's a family integrated centre.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was
Bill and
Phil.
I, Bill and I,
Phil
yeah.
and Phil.
Well, I don't mind going again unless somebody else wants to give it a go. Bill?
I was going to say that, yes, you and I have been previously representatives. Sadly, I'm in Portsmouth on the 3rd of March, so if someone else would like to go rather than me, I'd be
Okay.
more than happy.
Anybody fancy it? No.
Phil,
Okay.
Once.
Alison's
Chair,
Oh, Alison.
Alison, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm happy to go. I was put forward for the meeting in Knighton, but unfortunately, it was I couldn't get a place, so they, they're obviously oversubscribed.
Yeah, okay. Right, well, you and I then for the
Yeah.
3rd of March
Okay.
at the Greater Family Centre. Okay, well, that's great. Thank you. Thank you, Alison.
You just need a vote.
Oh, we need a vote on that, yeah.
I'm happy to propose.
Thank you. Seconded by Jackson. Those in favour, please.
Hands up.
Okay, thank you. That's unanimous.
Can I just remark on the mayor's bravery at going to a second meeting after his combative stance at the last one?
Yeah, well, yeah, sometimes
With
things
things
have to be said. No, I'll try not to this time. Okay, have we got any items for future agenda?
No, you've got 13 foot.
Never. Oh, cross-border healthcare. Ah, yes.
So if you remember at the last meeting, you supported their initiative for cross-border healthcare. They're having now a meeting of the people who did support and who would like to go on our behalf to represent us. It's online.
Yeah, this is quite serious and important, and I think we should make sure our voices are heard on this. Richard?
Could I nominate Carol for this? She's
Mhm.
shown a particular interest in it, and
You okay? Are you okay with that, Carol?
Yes, that's no problem. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Is it just one person that we need?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'll second it.
okay, seconded by Phil. Those in favour, please. Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much. Right, now we're on item 14. Is there anything to go on the agenda?
No, and this is for you to suggest things for the next time.
I know, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
No, I was just looking. Anybody want something on the agenda for next?
I can't tell you your chair, will be recorded.
can I just ask, because it was something that Richard said earlier, it was in relation to the election the year after next.
Yeah,
Are there requirements of things that we will have to do as a council in the lead up to the
There's things I'll need to do. However, one thing you should do, and I would very strongly advise that you do this, is that you hold some sort of event and invite people to learn about what it is to be a councillor. And you hold an information session and you invite people and you say, this is what the job entails, and to dispel any myths that may be out there. We're not a nice place to be or whatever. That would be my suggestion to you.
and therefore ask that we have an agenda item, not necessarily the next meeting, but at a suitable time prior to, just to make sure that we're all au fait with any rules and regulations and what we might want to
Yeah,
do.
so you'll all automatically stand down on the 4th day after the polling date. I don't know what the polling date is for 2027. And whoever's elected back will take their office on the 4th day as well. So
yeah. Bill?
I can't remember quite what we decided and whether we need to have any further discussion on hustings for the Senate election.
we decided that it was going to be you approved hustings, and it's being discussed by events and planning at the start of March. It's on the next.
All right, so that will come on to the agenda.
Yeah, it's moved on to their committee because it's an event. However, there is a legal opinion out there that hustings is seen as a positive, so a proactive step, which may violate pre-election period.
Oh.
So if you can hold it before the 30th of March, then we won't be in the pre-election period.
Did I see that there was one going to be held at the Cattle Market?
It was held Tuesday. So other organisations are organising the line to local authorities that don't do it, because even if you favour one candidate just a little bit, then of course you favour the candidate. However, speaking to the team who've done this a long time, we've got the equipment in here and stuff. We've got lights that say a certain time limit for candidates and things. So we can get away with it. We just need to be very careful about how that's construed. We also need to find a host who's going to host the evening. So things for the committee to do this. That's something I think you should do. Important event for people.
Yeah. Okay. Need a proposal now to go into closed session for the remainder of the meeting. Thank you, Bill. Seconded by Morag.